To your last video. So today we're putting everything from the turn series together. We're going to go over the two different types of turns that we worked on, where you're framing the horse up and turning them in a circle, or where you're getting them to more sit back on themselves and cross over. So two different types of turns. Both are very useful for the horse just to use its body differently and correctly. And both become very useful depending on where you're going, what you're wanting to do, how you're wanting them to turn. So I think every horse needs to know both types of turns. So we'll kind of start to go with them. So first things first, never just start with your hands. If you're wanting to go that way, don't just pull them, okay? It kind of just pulls their head around, and that's just where you lie. So if you're wanting to turn, and I practice this on all my horses, young and old, I am going to start by doing tiny little turns. So tiny little turns where their nose is on my boot almost. I'll slide my hand down, yes, but my body's doing everything. So my hips, so if I'm turning to the right, my hips are going to be turned. I'm going to do with my body what I want the horse to do. So I want them to come here just like we did in our practice, especially at the end of our boxing video. I want to turn here. I'm lifting my inside to push his belly in because I want that belly to get pushed over, and I want that hind end to step under. So that's the frame that we're wanting to get. My rein is just kind of guiding. So everything else, I'm not dipping that shoulder down. If I dip that shoulder down, it makes them fall in. So now we're wanting them to lift up. So I'm going to sit to the outside butt cheek of mine, and I'm going to lift up, tighten my core here, and push with my heel just a little bit, and watch his back inside leg. I'm wanting it to step under and around because I'm wanting him to really turn around. So I start it really small. It might sound kind of backwards, but it gets the frame really good. It gets you feeling everything a little better. And then you sit up nice and straight so they know to go straight. I don't pull them back to go straight. Same thing, if I want to start turning, I'm going to get my body first, sit to the outside butt cheek, foot first, hands last. And then I'm framing him around that inside foot. You're using your heel as a rolling mechanism. So I'm rolling it up his side, and I'm not just pressing him over. So your feet can work in different capacities here. So I want him picking up his ribs and moving them over. Sometimes they'll fall out and you have to help guide them back in. But right now we're just kind of focused on you. So I want you to push that back foot over. Yeah. Watch that back foot. Push that back foot. So when you take it on a larger scale, and then we sit up straight. When you take it on the larger scale and we're wanting to turn this way, I'm going to sit to the outside and try to guide them with my body first. So we are sitting to the outside, picking up on the inside, tightening my core, looking around. So he's framing his body around mine. Same thing, I'm going to look this way. I'm going to sit to the outside, pick up my inside, because that's what I want him to do. So these are just good exercises. You can steer all around. You can do your serpentines where you're just kind of snaking around. I sit to the outside. I pick up, tighten that inside core right there. So start working and start paying attention to how you're sitting and what you're wanting the horse to do. I want them to pick up their ribs, so I'm going to pick up my ribs. And I pick them up and hold them there. So I don't just sit straight and turn them. It just turns their neck. I want to turn them with their whole body. I want to frame them around whatever I'm turning. I don't care if you're a dressage rider and doing your perfect 20-meter circles. I don't care if you're a barrel racer and want to get around that barrel. Everything has a purpose. All right, so number 2 turn is going to be more the front end turning around to get you to where you want to go. The front end is steering, the back end is planting. So we need the horse more on their butt. So now we get in our position that we did our stop. So that's where that comes in. This is why this is after that video. So we get our position that we're in our stop. So we've rocked down, pushed down, and then we're going to push across with our hip here. And we're going to guide at the end with our hands. So our hands will follow, but our body does everything else. So I've sat, I push with my hips, I look, and then I just guide with my hands. If you just leave your hands still, it just gets awkward because everything's else over here and your hands are still over here. So it gets a little more confusing for the horse. But if they're the final thing that goes into place, everything makes sense to the horse. So I'm going to push, squeeze that butt cheek. So I'm squeezing the outside butt cheek, pushing him across. So this is something, again, you can do now instead of circles or serpentines. Now you do more boxes. And then you go straight. So now you squeeze the outside, open up the inside. Squeeze the outside, push across the shoulders. So now I want them to stay a little straighter, and I want them to come across and go straight. Come across and go straight. I do these kind of turns quite a bit in competition. I'll do these quite a bit in training, but there's a lot of times you want to be able to roll your horse over the hind end to turn. You don't always want a perfectly round circle to get your point across. Sometimes I need the shoulder control. So this is adding more of the shoulder control versus anything else. Sometimes you need to go all the way around and get straight. So these are little exercises you can do, but I'm squeezing this side and I'm looking this way. So now my outside rein is the one that follows up, but my body does the work first. So I'm going to sit like I asked him to stop. I'm going to push across with that outside hip. Squeeze that outside. Squeeze your core. Good. So the other one, I kind of want my body to turn with them. So I'm rotating with them. This one, I don't want my body to turn so much because I want him to come and meet me here, because his front end is coming around and my foot is what's pushing him through. So that's where we're going with those turns. So your two different types of turns. Frame up, lean to the outside, pick up your rib cage so they pick up their rib cage. Again, anything you do with the horse, you just want to think, do with my body to get the horse to do it. That's the key to everything. You don't want to force it by pulling their head, because that would just pull his head. So I'm sitting on the outside, I'm opening up the inside, framing him up. Sit, squeeze my butt, stay in the back, push across. Squeeze my core, squeeze my butt, come across. So your two different types of turns, keep working those, keep practicing the different types, and be conscious of what your body is doing them. Slow them down. Don't think about rushing through them. Do small circles, big circles, small squares, big squares, roll across those hocks. Different things to use your horse's body correctly where they're listening to your body. So you're not just pulling them with your reins and they're just flipping their head around and their body's flipping around too. So where you're actually controlling more the center of the horse. That's where we want everything to come from. So this is the end of the program. I had so much fun, and I will see you guys later for the next one. Bye.